Hey, let's get ready for Alliance Duel by making a March preset. Now to make a March preset, we'll go into our rally spot and click on March preset. And at the top, you'll see open options of where you can create and save a preset. So let's go ahead and go to the second one. And actually, let's go to that fourth one where I will make a ground preset. I've already made a mounted preset and a range preset. Now let's make a ground preset. So first, let's reset at the bottom left, and that will clear the troops that have already been selected. Since this is for Alliance Duel, I don't believe we can use the subordinate cities, so we will uncheck that. And so now scrolling through here, we see all of our levels of troops and types of troops, and they are all at 0 because I did that reset. So now that everything's been reset, we need to choose our generals. As I said, we are going to make a March preset of ground troops. So we need to find generals that give good buffs for ground troops. So UEFA, let's go into here. I clicked on him and that brought me to my list of generals. And looking through here, I need to find one that is for ground troops, and I really don't know my ground troop generals that well with this account. So let us do this. Let's click on the list, and if you look on the right side, underneath the heart, it gives a little icon, and the icon gives you a clue of what type of general or what troops they're good for. So for example, Himiko, that little icon shows a crossbow. So Himiko is good with ranged or archer troops. Barbarossa has a horse under the heart. So that horse means Barbarossa is good for leading mounted troops. So let's go through, what is Dimitri? So to check what type of general Dimitri is, I'm going to click on that yellow skill book, which is on the left, and increases ground troops defense and HP by 20% and ranged troops attack by 30%. Defense and HP are good, but I really want somebody that helps with ground troop attack. So, click on UEFA. Increases ground troops and mounted troops attack by 25%. Increases ground troops and mounted troops HP by 10% when general is leading the army to attack. Okay, so he's a decent general for attacking. So we'll keep him in mind. See if we have any better ones. So all those generals that have the little towers on them, they are good for subordinate cities. So we will just scroll past them. Scroll past the purple generals too. They're not really my favorites. And range mounted. Duty officer. Mounted. Duty officer. Mounted. What is that? Is that ground troops attack and defense by 15%, as well as ground troops HP? That is not that bad. Alright, so Trajan. Let's remember him. We'll go back up. And yeah, we'll keep UEFA. He's already on there, so we'll keep him. But for the assistant general, if we go back and click on the magnifying glass, Himiko is mostly for ranged troops. So Himiko does not work that well for a ground troop. So we'll go back through and let's choose, who was that we saw? Oh, Trajan, that's it. Okay. So we've chosen a couple generals here that should give extra buffs for ground troops. Now, something that we need to double check is to make sure that they are compatible. So to do that, we'll click on that magnifying glass of the assistant general. Oh, that yellow skill book is grayed out. So Trajan is not compatible with Ye Fei. So we need to choose a different one. So let's go down past Trajan. Sorry if I'm scrolling too fast. Don't look if you get motion sickness. Ooh, Wei Qing. Reduces enemy ground troops and mounted troops attack by 15%. Increases your mounted troops and ranged troops attack. Mixed. Is mixed. Oh, man. Oh, here we go. Oda Nobunaga. Ground troop attack by 35%. Let's choose them. That 35% is pretty nice. We'll click on the magnifying glass, make sure he is compatible, and he is! That yellow skill book under his picture is not grayed out. So Oda is compatible with Ye. Now, let's go back here, and we need to add in our troops. So this is a PvP march. We are going to add in layers. And layers means we add in a little bit of every type of troop at every level. Now you will notice if looking through here, I do not, oh no, my siege are there. Okay, so we will add siege as well. So we'll click on that number, and I am going to add 500 of every level. Now, the march size here is almost 900,000. So 500 is a pretty good amount for layers. If you have a much larger march size, like twice this amount, 1,000 would be a good number for layers. If you have a smaller march size, 100 is fine too. The important thing is just that we have troops of every type and every level in here for our layers, because when they are attacking or defending, the attacks and defending go through a cycle of troops, and by putting in these extra layers, they help create a little bit of a buffer for our main troops that we are going to add in a little bit, and it just helps secure victory a little more, or at least cause more damage to the opponent. Now, as we are making this for Alliance Duel, or you can also use it for Battlefield or PvP, these layer numbers, like what I said, 500 or 1,000 if you have a larger march size, that's typically recommended. But if you are using a layered march against Arctic Barbarians, which is not a real player, just an NPC opponent, there are several people who recommend only 100 in your layers, no matter what march size you have. So this does take a bit of time. That is why we are making a march preset. This way we will save our work and we don't have to do this every time. I am almost done with my layers. There we go, 500 of every level and every troop type. Now when you go through and add layers, if you are missing any level of troops, then you'll just want to go back and quickly train some. Just quickly train 100, 500 in order to add in those layers, because it really does help to have layers of every level and troop type. All right, we are doing our ground march. So we want to go heavy on our top level of ground troops. Those are our Templar warriors at level 12. Now, the percentage that people recommend is usually about 75% of your march size will be in that top level, or between 70% and 80%. So if my march size is 900,000, 80% is going to be 720,000. And we will just take that down to 700,000. 700,000. There we go. And I have just barely enough troops available at that level to fill that 700,000. Now let's go to our next level, which is 11, and that's going to be our Grand Swordsman. And I want to have about 15% of my march size here. So 15%, let's see, 90,000, 135,000. And that will get us up there. Right, and look, we have about 42,000 left for our next level, which is, oh, I did cavalry. We'll take that back down to 500. Oops. Why did I say 135,000? Okay, so Grand Swordsman. 135. There we go. Yay, and I have enough there. Okay, our next level is 10, and that will be our Imperial Foot Knights. We'll just take those up. There we go, 42,000. So there I have my layers, and then I have my top troops that will be leading the attack and the defense. Now, if you do not have 700,000, then, or whatever would be equivalent to about 70-75% of your march size capacity, you would just top that off, go down to the next level. So that, in this case, that would be my Grand Swordsman 11s. I would add in more of those, and then if I still am not done, I would go down to 10 and add more of those. You want to fill in as many of those top level ones of your intended march, so in this case ground, before you go in and fill other stuff. If you still have a lot of space in your march capacity, you just keep going down those levels of your chosen troop type and max them out. Or also check your generals, and some will have buffs for other troop types. You can add in a little extra of those other troop types as well. Now I am done with this march preset, so I need to save it. The bottom right is the save preset, and this is a ground one. For me, the swords represents ground troops, so I will save it. Now, neither of those generals are ascended, but I do want to point out something here. So I went over to my mounted march. Li Jing is partially ascended. He has 2 red stars, so that highlights those 2 green lines. They are activated. Roland is also partially ascended. He has 1 red star, but because he is an assistant general, that ascended skill is not available. If he was the main general, it would be, but he is only an assistant one, so whatever skill is associated with that red star is not available for that march. But anyway, so we'll go back to our ground march. It is still there, and it is ready to be used. So, just as an example, we'll pretend to attack this renegade. Attack. Choose our march preset, and everything is ready to go.